decided to keep this review of the G4 MG4 Plus golf shoes, just like my putts, short. If you're looking for a pair of golf shoes that are gonna stand out a little, or maybe a lot depending upon the colorway that you choose, stick around and I'll let you know whether or not these shoes are worth considering. Although many will wince at the £180 price tag here in the UK or $225 in the US. I'll say it up front, that's a lot of money considering the Adidas code Chaos can set you back around £140, or even a pair of FootJoy Pro SLs will come in around £120. But the MG4 Plus do feel pretty well made, they're seriously lightweight and comfortable, and G4 are just one of those labels that some golfers are happy to pay the premium for. Not me, however, I couldn't care less about the label. But I picked these up for half price, and at £90, well, that feels like an absolute bargain. So make sure you're signed up to my monthly newsletter where I share the latest and greatest golf deals available for both US and UK golfers. For me, these shoes fit true to size and were very comfortable from the get-go. There was no hint of blistering whatsoever when I walked 18 holes in these shoes straight out of the box. And they're surprisingly lightweight given how secure my feet feel in them. There's a good amount of padding actually on the underside of the upper, which you can feel when you wear the shoes, so that does mean they give you quite a snug fit. If you like quite a lot of room in your toes, or you've got a particularly wide foot, then I'd recommend probably sizing up at least half a size in these shoes, or maybe even just consider something else that actually offers a dedicated wide fit version like the FootJoy range generally does. The unique G4 insole comes with all these lumps and bumps on the inside that initially did feel a little bit unusual because I've never experienced that on any other pair of shoes that I've ever worn, but I've got to be honest, it quickly become quite pleasant to wear, and the underside of your foot feels like it's getting a little massage every time you take a step in these shoes. In terms of the actual softness and comfort underfoot, I'd say that these are kind of around middle of the pack, maybe slightly edging towards the more softer end of the market, but they're certainly not as soft as something like an Adidas Boost midsole. Now, I'm not a huge fan of the upper material being used in this version of the shoe. It's a synthetic upper, it feels kind of stiff, there's certainly softer feeling uppers out there, and they're not the most breathable. That said, they're certainly not uncomfortable, and this upper does provide a surprisingly good amount of stability, especially when coupled with this TPU heel counter at the rear. It's quite a significant chunky heel counter, and you really get a good feeling of your heel being locked in with this shoe. There's some flexibility in this midsole and upper combination you can see, but there are certainly other shoes on the market which would twist a lot more than these. This kind of sits in roughly that middle tier of stability, I'd say. However, I was pretty disappointed with these shoes on only the second hole of wearing them, because while looking for a ball in some deep rough, I managed to catch them on a thorn and scratch this upper quite significantly. Now, it didn't tear the upper or rip it, but it scratched it enough that it's no longer the same color here. It's taken that top layer of this synthetic upper off. To make matters worse, I wasn't even looking for my lost ball for once. I was actually looking for my competitors. When I explained to G4 what had happened and showed them some images, there was no offer of a replacement pair of shoes. Instead, they just offered me a 15% discount if I wanted to buy another pair. The outsole is relatively aggressive. It's not the most aggressive that I've ever seen, but equally, it's pretty much aggressive enough for most golfers in most situations. I certainly didn't slip out on the course while wearing these, but in seriously wet conditions, I'd probably still want to favour going for a pair of spiked golf shoes instead. That said, these are very much a pair of golf shoes that you can wear to the golf course, on the golf course, and then during the drive back home as well. I didn't have any issues with this upper when it comes to water resistance, but you can see here that during my waterproof test, when you pour water over the tongue area, there isn't any gusset on the bottom of this tongue. So if you do step in a deep puddle or playing in really significant heavy rain, then your feet might just get a little bit wet. The design of the shoe, as you can see, is pretty sporty. On this version here, you've got this camouflaged heel counter. And on the actual upper itself, you've got a couple of different textures. So it's pretty smooth along the back part, but then actually as you get towards the forefoot, you can see that you get this gentle crisscross pattern. And you can also see that you've got this subtle wave pattern going along on the midsole as well. Interestingly, you're not getting any metallic eyelets with the shoes. Always makes me laugh on the bottom as well. You've got a little logo, pray for birdies. The scratched upper did leave a bit of a bitter taste in my mouth, and that would have been made a whole lot worse had I paid full price for these shoes. They get my approval because they are very comfortable, stable, have good traction, and I think look pretty darn good. They can also look pretty horrific, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
It's just something ugly people say.
But I do struggle to recommend them given that you can pick up a lot of other great golf shoes for quite a bit cheaper. If you can stomach the price tag, then there's not much else that will look as unique as this, perform as well, and be as comfortable. I've included links to buy these shoes down in the description below, and if you found this video helpful, then don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you are in the market for some new golf shoes, then why not check out this video here where I compare the top traditional golf shoes that you can currently buy in 2023.